From WFRB-TV Local 5, your local election headquarters. This is Newsmaker Sunday with your host, Tom Zalaski.
Good morning and welcome to Newsmaker Sunday. I'm Erin Davison filling in for Tom Zalaski. Today we turn our election conversation to the United States Senate. Republicans are running for the chance to face Democratic Party incumbent Tammy Baldwin in November. Today we talk with Leah Vukmir. She is a nurse, a military mom, and currently serves as a state senator representing the 5th District, which covers a portion of Milwaukee through Dodge County. She's raised 2 children in Wauwatosa. Vukmir received the endorsement of the state GOP convention and Wisconsin Congressman and Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan. And we thank you for joining us today.
Good morning, Erin. Thank you for having me on. Appreciate it.
Our first question is to tell us about yourself. For those unfamiliar with you, what do we need to know?
Well, certainly. I'm someone who never thought I was going to get into politics. I say I got into politics out of circumstance, not ambition. I'm a nurse. I'm a mom. I was a mom with a cause who was concerned about how they were teaching reading in my daughter's classroom some 25 years ago, and it started me on an odyssey of school board meetings, writing letters to the editor, and the next thing I knew, I was running for a seat in the state assembly that was vacated by none other than Scott Walker. When he was running for county executive, I ran for his seat. So it's been an incredible privilege to serve in the assembly and the Senate, to stand with Governor Walker as we've put forth one bold reform and change after another. And that's what brings me here to this point where people have asked me to step up and take on Tammy Baldwin.
So according to the latest Marquette Law School poll, just about every candidate in both parties running against an incumbent faces a problem of name recognition. How do you get your name out there?
Well, we're certainly doing a good job of that, and it's improving. I have traveled 71,000 miles on my car in a little over a year, and I've been to all 72 counties, most more than once. We are now up on the air with TV, and radio will be following. And it's part of the process that you go through. I'm not worried about it. I know that we're getting our name out there, having the support of the grassroots in particular through the convention endorsement, with almost 73% of the delegates supporting me. These are people in every corner of the state that actually will help me get my message out, and I'm grateful to have their support and the party's support as well.
Let's talk about the message. One of the biggest issues we face on the national level is immigration. The president has a no-tolerance policy when it comes to people entering the country illegally. There have been a lot of protests, certainly across the country. If elected to the U.S. Senate, what would you do to solve the problem?
Well, first and foremost, I stand with the president in border security. I think it's really the first thing that has to be talked about before we can talk about anything else with immigration reform. And Erin, I'm the daughter of Greek immigrants. I grew up in a big fat Greek family, and my childhood memories, my dad came here in the 50s. My mom was born here, but her parents were from Greece. And my childhood memories are watching as aunts and uncles came to this country, and they went through a legal process. And I helped them study for their naturalization and their citizenship test, and they went through that assimilation process. And I think we have to remember that we are a nation of laws, and we have to respect those who are coming here legally. We have a broken immigration system right now where people are taking advantage of the fact that our borders are porous. And so I think we need to first and foremost secure that border, and then we can talk about merit-based immigration and a lot of the other issues that fall under comprehensive immigration.
You know, it seems the tone is growing more contentious between those who support President Trump and those who do not support him. Some of Trump's administration have been harassed, certainly at dinner, seeing a show. Sarah Sanders kicked out of a Virginia restaurant. What do you say to people who are so angry, and how do we restore civility in this country?
Well, it is very disappointing to see that we've gotten to this point, and I think that it does make people not want to get involved, and that's the last thing we want. We want people to be involved, to help not only as grassroots concerned citizens, but to run for office. And from my perspective, when I look at what I've done here in Wisconsin, I think it's really important that you develop relationships, personal relationships with people that you don't always agree with, people on the other side of the aisle. I have a track record of doing that, and I believe that's what's helped me get legislation through on a bipartisan basis. And I think it's also important to remember that as a state, almost 92 to 93% of the bills that are signed into law by Governor Walker are bipartisan. But it's unfortunate that you only hear about those that are really polarizing. So I think a great step is to make sure you develop those relationships. Understand that sometimes we can agree to disagree, but there's a lot of common ground and we can get things done without compromising our principles.
Well, the Supreme Court dealt a major blow to organized labor today. 5-4 vote, the court ruled that government workers who choose not to join unions may not be required to help pay for collective bargaining. Your reaction to this, and also to the news that Justice Anthony Kennedy is retiring?
Well, I think it is a victory for people who believe in free association and free speech. No one should have to be forced to put money into dues that'll be used for political purposes against their wishes. So I'm grateful that that is what the outcome was, and I had anticipated that's what it would be. And in terms of the justice retiring, look, I think this is all the more reason why I'm grateful that we have someone like President Trump as our president, someone who I know has a track record of looking at people for this office and other judicial nominees who are people who are going to abide by our Constitution. And that's very important to me. And as somebody who will likely be in that position, God willing, as someone who will be able to confirm as a Senate member, I also believe very strongly that we need to have people in those positions who look to our Constitution as a founding document, not as a breathing, changing document, but as something that was started and created by our founding fathers and has to be upheld for the value that it has given to our country.
All right, thank you. We will delve into more election issues with United States Senate candidate Leah Vukmir when we come back.